re-examination of state witness Sergeant Batho Mogola will start this morning. Yesterday, Mogola testified about the first time that accused number 1 made his admission. Mogola arrested Muzi Sibiya in Thembisa in May of 2020. Newzroom Africa's Mnisi joins us here in studio for an update. Linda, it's great to see you. Thanks very much indeed for coming on. So one of the big things to come out of what happened in court yesterday was how accused number 1, Muzi Sibiya, apparently said to his arresting officer that one day he would have to admit to the murder of Meyiwa.
Yeah, that was an explosive revelation, Michelle, given the fact that we're still dealing with the trial within a trial that's looking at the admissibility of the confession statements that were made by Muzi Sibiya as well as accused number 2, Bongani Ntanzi. Interesting that, the question related to the rights that she had read to Muzi Sibiya, because you remember, before an accused person or a suspect makes an admission, or anybody for that matter, they need to be informed of their rights, that they do not have or they are not compelled to making any incriminating statements to the police. So it was at that time when she revealed how it came about that Muzi Sibiya started talking exactly about how he would one day have to take responsibility. And this happens on the very same day that he was arrested for a dealing in drugs case, which was separate, obviously, from the murder of Meyiwa. But amongst the many other cases that the police officers, including Mogola, were investigating was the Meyiwa murder case. And they, at the time, were at a hostel in Vosloorus when he made that admission. I want us to take a listen to exactly what she said.
My lord, I gave him his rights, and my lord, he said he understood, and my lord started to tell me, my lord, about his knowledge or involvement in this case. I stopped him, my lord, as he continued, and told him, my lord, that he to reiterate, my lord, to say he is not compelled to make any admissions or confession, my lord, and that, my lord, he can ask, my lord, or consult, my lord, his lawyer, or my lord, a lawyer can be provided, my lord, at the state expense. And my lord, he said, "Agawudinga ummeli, my lord." In fact, my lord, in Zulu, he said, "Okwamanje angimdinga ummeli." That's why, my lord, I further asked him, "Why are you telling me this?" He even asked me, what did I mean by that? And I told him, my lord, that you saw people were wrongfully arrested and the case, my lord, was still unsolved. Why didn't you come forward and tell the police that, like what you are telling me? And my lord, he said he knew that one day he has to take a responsibility, my lord, for the murder of Meyiwa.
And obviously this is her version of events, right? What does Muzi Sibiya say about what she alleges he told her?
It's interesting because Muzi Sibiya obviously is denying having voluntarily made a confession statement. So he indicates or tells the court that according to his version, he was assaulted into making the admissions that the state alleges. But you'll remember, we're dealing here with a trial within a trial that's looking also at the admissibility of these confession statements. It's interesting because some of the requirements for the admissibility of these confession statements is the rights. At the heart of it is the rights, and somebody being made aware that they may need the services of a legal representative. It's interesting that what Sergeant Mogola says is that he elected not to use the services of a lawyer, saying that at this point, I don't think I need a lawyer, but I knew that at some point I would have to take responsibility for the murder of Meyiwa.
So this issue of admissibility of these supposed confession statements, Linda, it's also highlighted by Sibiya alleging that he was assaulted, right, during one of his court appearances. That also goes to, whether his confession was made then voluntarily, I suppose.
Yeah. So in one of the records that, were presented in court, this was when he was appearing at a Thembisa court for a charge of dealing in drugs. This was, remember, he was arrested for that. And he indicated to the court that, in fact, he had been assaulted by the police officers of Silverton Police Station. It was put to Sergeant Mogola yesterday, this version was put to her. And what she said was quite interesting, Michelle, because she says, I did follow up on this allegation because I was the one that was transporting him to every court appearance. So I went to Silverton police station and I inquired about who had assaulted him, and nobody could account. People said they were not aware of this incident of him being assaulted. But one of the other things that she says, she goes on to say, it was interesting because, you know, at that particular time, he had lied during investigations, and the truth was now catching up with him. And he then said he wanted to be moved to a prison cell because he was assaulted, you know, at the police cells. When he was moved to the prison cells, he then came back and started complaining again that the food wasn't enough. So he wanted to be returned back to that police cell where he alleged he had been assaulted. So she really, you know, denied those allegations.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of this kind of back and forth in this trial within a trial, right? And we don't have a lot of time left in terms of court time for the remainder of the year. Court goes into recess, what, around the 14th or 15th? Yeah. Do you reckon we will wrap up at least this part so that we can get to the actual murder trial in the new year?
Well, and if you look at, Michelle, the number of days that are set down for this matter, it's sitting until the 1st of December, right, and will return early next year in January. You look at the number of witnesses that have testified in the state's case in the trial within a trial, you know, we're now almost at the end of the state's case because the state had indicated to the court earlier that it would be Sergeant Mogola, and then ultimately we'll be hearing from the lead investigator, Brigadier Gininda. But also there's still a couple of testimonies that are not finished that had to be stood down. I'm talking now about the testimony of the AVL expert, Michael Dupree, as well as that of one of the investigators in this case, Mogola. So those will go hand in hand because now they're waiting for the expert report from the AVL expert, who will then you know, face further cross-examination if there is a need, and then recall Mogola, who will then complete his evidence before perhaps we get into the
no chance of finishing by the end of the year.
Investigator. Looking at the time, yeah.
All right, Linda, Mnisi, thanks for coming into studio, giving us a sense of this trial within a trial. Chances are we'll see it continue into the new year.